The Redlands Bust is the most famous drug bust in the history of rock and roll. And Mick was set up. The news of the world tipped off the police, but who tipped off the news of the world? Who was on the phone? Who plunged the dagger in the back of Mick Jagger? Who rolled on the stones?
67 was a year of change for everybody.
Turn on, tune in, and drop out.
It's Saturday, 11th February 1967. Let's Spend the Night Together is number 4 in the charts. A phone is ringing at the news of the world. The sub-editor on the news desk puts his fag in the ashtray and picks up the phone. Someone, no one knows who, has a story. Keith Richards is having a party at his 13th century Redlands estate in Suffolk. Mick Jagger is there, and there are drugs. Mick and Keith are taking acid, and they're going to be sent to prison. It's time to wax our moustaches and go all a bit Miss Marple. In the face of overwhelming odds, we have only one option. You and me are gonna Agatha Christie the shit out of this. This is part 1. We're gonna look at the suspects. In part 2, we'll look at the trial. In part 3, I will reveal for the very first time just who ratted out the Rolling Stones. This whodunit begins on Friday the 3rd of February 1967, 9 days before the Redlands Bust. A reporter for the News of the World is working undercover. He's been told to get salacious stories, anything that connects pop stars to drugs. He's in the exclusive London nightclub Blazes. It's cramped, noisy, sweaty and filled with musicians, agents, managers, writers, all getting drunk and swapping industry gossip. Jimi Hendrix played here only a few weeks ago. It's the perfect place to dig for dirt on the stars of rock and pop. Sunday, 5th of February, 7 days before the Redlands Bust. The News of the World publishes a story with the headline, Pop Stars and Drugs, Facts That Will Shock You. It's a puritanical and sensational expose guaranteed to shock, titillate and sell newspapers. And boy, does it ever. 9 million copies of the paper are bought that Sunday. The article says Mick Jagger was in the club taking LSD and flashing a large lump of cannabis, inviting girls to come smoke it with him in his flat. But it wasn't Mick. It was Brian Jones, founding member of the Rolling Stones, who was flaunting his drugs. Mick Jagger reads the story. This could be the end of his career. It could affect record sales. He could get arrested. He could be refused a visa and stop touring in the USA. Moreover, it isn't true. He's got an alibi. Tuesday, 11th of February, 5 days before the Redlands Bust. Mick Jagger issues a writ for libel. It's true. Mick Jagger sued a Red Top on a Tuesday when the Rolling Stones was topping the charts with Ruby Tuesday. The newspaper lied. Mick Jagger wasn't in the club and he can prove it. The News of the World has libelled Mick Jagger. They're going to lose and damages will be substantial. The editor of the News of the World was Stafford Summerfield, a Fleet Street legend. He has to do something. A drugs conviction would scupper Jagger's libel case. He needs a story to discredit Mick. And quick. Saturday, 11th of February, 1 day before the Redlands Bust. The party is being held in honour of Mick Jagger. At Redlands, he's going to have his very first acid trip. At midday, everyone drops acid and the party gets started. Guests include Beatle George Harrison, movie star Dennis Hopper, Beat Generation author William Burroughs, Stones manager Andrew Oldham, and a host of hangers-on. 12th of February 1967. This is it. This is the Redlands Bust. It's Sunday night. 7:30. There's a knock at the door. Keith Richards looks out the window and he's still tripping. He sees uniformed dwarves at the door. And he welcomes them in.
I love this. I love this.
But it's not 7 dwarves, it's 18 police officers. The police are a bit late. Jagger and Richards are 23 years old? And they've done all the drugs. What the police find is a bunch of young English rock stars quietly listening to music and tripping. Guess what they were listening to when the police arrived? Bob Dylan's Rainy Day Women, number 12 and 35. Mick Jagger is on the sofa with Marianne Faithfull. She'd had a quick shower and covered herself with a fur rug. Everyone's still high. They giggle as the police sees sticks of incense, ashtrays, joss sticks, no Mars bars. That's just a rumour put about by some cunning linguist. The police search Mick and in his coat they find 4 pet pills. Art dealer Robert Fraser, Groovy Bob, has a small amount of heroin. Jagger and Groovy Bob are arrested for possession. Keith Richards is arrested for allowing his house to be used for the purpose of smoking cannabis. So, who's the rat that tipped off the paper? Jagger and Richards are pretty paranoid. It's hardly surprising. They're off their heads. They're young. They're under arrest. They're suspicious of everyone. The sticky finger of blame first points at harmless hippie Nicky Kramer. He's a penniless upper-class hanger-on who was so high on acid he never came down. He's an amiable loon, flowers in his hair, a bell round his neck, blowing bubbles. Shockingly, someone, probably Keith, has him hung out of the window by his ankles, but Kramer doesn't confess. Keith Richards thought his Belgian chauffeur Patrick had sold them out, so he sacked him right away. In a way, he was right, as Patrick did sell his story to the News of the World. Someone, probably Keith, had him beaten up too. But was Patrick really the snitch? The next suspect is David Snyderman, the acid king. He was at the party supplying acid from his stash in a briefcase, but he claims his briefcase wasn't searched. The very next day, the acid king flees the country. Did he tip off the News of the World? In later years, he claims MI5 and the CIA had got him to set up the Rolling Stones in return for dropping a drug smuggling case. Is that case closed? Next up, Rolling Stones manager Andrew Oldham. He claims he's terrified of being arrested and flees to the USA. As a result, he's sacked. Did he make the call to destroy his own band? Alan Klein became the new manager. Did Klein set up the Stones to discredit Andrew Oldham? Over the years, that sticky finger of suspicion has pointed at Keith's bodyguard, an ex-paratrooper called Tom Keylock. Why? Because his brother works for the Metropolitan Police. Things rapidly spiral out of control. The band flees the country to avoid the press. They're nearly arrested in Paris for not paying a hotel bill. The police are called in Spain when they can't pay a restaurant bill. Brian Jones is being erratic, coughing non-stop, driving everyone crazy. In Tangier, Brian Jones discovers his girlfriend, Anita Pallenberg, is leaving him for Keith Richards. The band abandoned Brian Jones, leaving him in the hotel alone, lovelorn, and penniless. Jagger certainly blames Brian Jones. If he hadn't been bragging in a London nightclub, none of this would ever have happened. Brian Jones wasn't at the party. Did Brian Jones suspect Keith was having an affair with Anita? Did he make that call? You can let me know in the comments which of the suspects you think did it. The newspaper editor, the chauffeur, the hippie, the dealer with a briefcase full of drugs, the ambitious American music manager, the disgruntled pop star, the crooked cop, the bodyguard, or the whole British establishment. And don't forget to tell me your favourite top 3 Rolling Stones songs. In part 2, we're going to take a look at the trials. Are there any clues in the transcripts? See you next time.